The sewers beneath New Terra's gleaming towers had been Verk's home for 3 years now. At 17, he'd learned every pipe, every junction, every place where the maintenance drones never ventured. The upper city belonged to the Galactic Coalition, aliens from 100 worlds who'd come to Earth after humanity's near extinction. Down here in the forgotten darkness, Verk survived on discarded ration packs and dreams of stars he'd never reach. He was checking his makeshift traps when he heard it, a whimpering sound that didn't belong in his domain. Following the noise through ankle-deep water, Verk discovered her. An alien girl, no older than himself, collapsed against the curved wall. Her skin shimmered with an iridescent blue that reminded him of pictures he'd once seen of tropical seas. One of her legs bent at an unnatural angle. "Please," she whispered in accented standard. "Help me." Every instinct screamed at Verk to run. Aliens meant trouble. They meant questions he couldn't answer, attention he couldn't afford. But her eyes, large and golden, held the same desperate fear he'd seen in his own reflection 1,000 times. "I'm Elsa," she managed, her voice strained with pain. "I fell from the transport platform." Verk knelt beside her, his worn jacket pooling in the filthy water. "This is going to hurt," he said simply, then lifted her as gently as he could. She was lighter than expected, her bones hollow like a bird's. She bit back a cry as he carried her to a shelter, a dry maintenance alcove hidden behind a false panel. His home wasn't much: a salvaged sleeping mat, a water purifier he'd built from scavenged parts, and a small cache of food. But it was dry and safe. Verk set Elsa down carefully, then rummaged through his supplies for the medical kit he'd stolen months ago. "Why are you helping me?" Elsa asked as he splinted her leg with practiced efficiency. Living in the sewers meant frequent injuries. "Because nobody helped me when I needed it," Verk replied. "And I remember what that felt like." He gave her water, shared his meager dinner of protein paste, and answered her questions about how a human boy ended up living beneath a city run by aliens. His parents had died in the collapse. The Coalition's refugee centers were overcrowded, corrupt. He'd chosen the sewers over the camps. "Your people built these tunnels," Elsa said, looking around the alcove. "Before my people came, before everything changed for you. We built a lot of things," Verk said quietly. "We just don't get to use them anymore." Elsa stayed silent for a long moment. Then, "My father is Ambassador Krell, third delegate to the Coalition Council." Verk's blood went cold. "You're Coalition royalty." "I was running away," she admitted. "From arranged marriage, from duty. Stupid, I know. And now," she gestured at her splinted leg, "I should take you back." Even as he said it, Verk knew he couldn't. "In the morning," Elsa said. "Please, just let me pretend I'm free for one night." They talked until the distant city above grew quiet. Elsa told him about the stars, about worlds where water fell from the sky and trees grew taller than buildings. Verk told her about humanity's history, about the species that had reached for those very stars before everything went wrong. When she finally slept, Verk sat awake watching her breathe, knowing that morning would bring consequences he couldn't imagine. Dawn came with the thunder of boots in the tunnels. Verk woke to blinding searchlights and armed Coalition guards. He put himself between them and Elsa instinctively, though he had no weapon, no chance. "Stand down." A tall alien in ceremonial armor pushed through the ranks. Ambassador Krell. His face was unreadable, but his eyes, the same gold as his daughter's, fixed on Verk with intensity. "Father, wait." Elsa struggled to sit up. "He saved me. He gave me food, shelter, medical care. He asked for nothing." The ambassador studied Verk for a long moment. The boy stood his ground, chin raised despite the trembling in his legs. He'd survived 3 years in these sewers. He wouldn't cower now. "What is your name?" Krell finally asked. "Verk, sir." "And what do you want, Verk?" "Reward, credits, a position in the city." Verk thought about lying, about asking for the things he was supposed to want. Instead, he told the truth. "I want humans to have a voice. Not charity, not pity. A seat at the table we built." The tunnel fell silent except for dripping water. Krell's expression shifted, something that might have been respect. "My daughter tells me you treated her wounds with equipment meant for your species. That our biology is different, yet you adapted." "I improvised," Verk said simply. "Humanity's greatest gift," Krell murmured. "Not your technology, not your warfare. Your ability to adapt, to survive, to help others even when you have nothing." He turned to his guards. This human is under my protection. Prepare quarters in the embassy. Father? Elsa looked shocked. And arrange a meeting with the council. Krell continued, his eyes still on Verk. It seems we have much to discuss about humanity's role in the coalition, starting with a new position, human liaison. If you'll accept it, Verk. Verk looked around his alcove at 3 years of survival, then at Elsa, who smiled through her pain, at the ambassador, who waited for an answer. On one condition, Verk said. There are others like me, living down here, forgotten. They get help too, real help. Krell's laugh echoed through the tunnels. You negotiate like someone who has something to lose, boy. I respect that. He extended his hand, a human gesture. Agreed. As the guards helped Elsa to her feet and the procession moved toward the surface, Verk took one last look at the shadows that had been his home. He'd survived by hiding in the dark. Now perhaps he could help his people step back into the light. The sewers had taught him that sometimes the smallest act of kindness could change everything. He'd helped one limping alien girl. She'd helped him save the human race. The end.